You are listening to How to Get Over Your Ex, episode number 178. I'm not in control in my breakup. Welcome to How to Get Over Your Ex, a podcast on getting over your ex without it just taking time. I'm your host, breakup coach Dorothy. Let's turn your pain into power and your heartbreak into happy. Hello, beautiful brave hearts. How are you doing? Let's dive in. I want to talk about control during our breakup. I know for a lot of us, breakups can feel like a huge lack of control, especially when you were the one that was left, right? Maybe you didn't make this decision. Someone else decided they no longer wanted to be with you, and now it's affecting all of your life. And what we're really doing is we're building off the conversation we had started last week in episode 177. I had a client who really felt like the decision wasn't hers, that someone else decided something and it significantly altered her life. And a part of that is feeling out of control, feeling like her ex was and is in the driver's seat. So this week, I wanted to talk about, let's just recap. Last week, I talked about how is it possible that you do want this breakup? And if you want to listen to that episode, we're talking about, is it possible that this is something that you want? If you haven't explored that, maybe you want to listen to that episode first before listening to this episode because they kind of build on top of each other. But if not, that's totally fine too. We can progress forward. So this week, I wanted to talk about being in control and how out of control a breakup or divorce can feel. And more importantly, how much control you actually do have in this situation, regardless of whether or not you were the person who left. My favorite thing about this episode would be that at the end of listening, I would love for you to feel empowered to make decisions, take action, and move forward from your divorce or your breakup because you remember how much control over your own life you actually have in this situation, okay? So that's the whole goal. Let's go, sister or brother. So the first question that I have for you is, why do we feel out of control? Why do we feel out of control in breakups? And if I were to ask this to you in real life, I have a feeling that a lot of your responses would be something like, well, because this person made this decision, because my ex decided this and I didn't. Well, because my ex is the one I'm waiting on a decision for. And what I want to offer to you is that it's because of the way that we're thinking. The reason we feel out of control is because we think we are out of control. Thoughts create feelings, okay? Meaning if my feeling is out of control, it's because I'm believing I'm losing control, I've lost control, or I don't have control over this situation. For my client in this example, she was saying he's in the driver's seat. My ex-husband's in the driver's seat. Now, remember, all our thoughts are optional. If you don't believe this theory that thoughts are optional, we can't control them all. We've got like 60 to 80,000 a day. We can't possibly manage them all. But what thoughts we give attention to is optional. And I really want to share an example with you. My belief is that you have probably made plans for later today. Maybe you've made plans for tomorrow, or maybe even next year, next month, next week. Why would we make plans? Because you're choosing to believe the optional belief that you're going to be alive for those plans tomorrow, next week, next month, and next year. But you have no idea if that's actually true or not. Isn't that crazy? It's so crazy to me. We believe that. And of course we do. It serves us. Could you imagine living a life where you thought you were going to not be alive, so therefore you couldn't make plans in the future because you weren't sure if you would be alive? You're like, but I don't have any evidence of it. It just doesn't work. Now, believing that your ex is in the driver's seat, that you've lost control, or that you have no control in this situation means that you're going to feel out of control. And think about how you show up when this feels real for you, right? You act out of control. For my client, this was a panicked or urgent emotion. And I do the same thing. When I feel out of control, I act out of control. I do the crazy stuff. The stuff we don't want to tell other people, right? Call him 3 or 4 times in a row, drive over to his place to yell at him, stalk the Instagram, write a text to the new girl, think about or maybe actually share all over social media about how not okay the situation and how shitty of a person your ex is. And there's no judgment. We've all been there. But what's fascinating is when we are feeling out of control, rarely does it lead to us taking control. Right? What we focus on grows. So if we focus on how out of control this situation is, how out of control your breakup is, how little control we have, we will do everything in our power to prove that true. The brain wants to be right. So whatever thought it's thinking, it's going to prove that it's right. It's going to take action that aligns with that belief. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So the simple solution, right, is what we focus on, we create more of. So the very simple solution here is to redirect your focus to what you do have control over in your breakup or your divorce. Because if we focus on what you do have control over, you're only going to create more control. If we focus on what we do have control over, we find all the things we do actually have control over when it comes to the breakup and the divorce. So my question to you, Braveheart, is it possible that I have more control over this than I think I do? And secondly, what do I have control over in this breakup and divorce? And I want you today to brainstorm 25 things within your breakup and divorce that you do in fact have control over. What? 25, right? And don't let your brain not answer the question, what do I have control over? There are so many things that we have control over in our life that we completely disregard, that we overlook when we're feeling out of control because we're believing we're out of control. Here's a list of like 25 randoms, okay? I have control over whether or not I entertain this relationship in my mind or in my physical reality. You have control over that. You have control over where you live, what you do, how you react to your ex's reaction of the situation or of yourself. You have control over how you make money, how you spend money, right? Not having to worry about what the ex was doing with the money is really exciting. Now that you're in a breakup, you don't have to worry about what they're doing with the money or divorce. You have control over what you want in a partnership. You have control over what you tolerate in life, behavior from yourself and from others. You have control over who gets to be in your physical reality. The people you don't want to spend time with anymore, you don't have to spend time with people that you don't want to spend time with. You control your inputs, what you read, what you hear, what you listen to. You control what you spend your time on. You control how you organize your day. You control your morning routine. You control your priorities and your values in life. You control the words or the lack thereof that you use with your ex. You could simply not say anything. You control the numbers on your phone and the block list. You get to determine what you allow on and in your social media. You control where you work and when you work. That is something you control. You control what you tell your lawyer and what you have your lawyer handle versus those of you, for those of you that are in a divorce. If you don't have to do it, have your lawyer do it. You get to control that. You control how you interact with your ex. You control if and when you start dating. You control what you make all of this mean, meaning like the breakup or the divorce. You control and are in charge of the narrative that you have about yourself. You control the next minute, hour, day, week, month, year, and beyond in your life. And you control how present you are and how much energy you put into problems that are not here yet. I could go on and on and on. That's a list of 25. And in fact, some people might say you have more control in a breakup or in a divorce than you do while in the relationship. What? Fancy that for a minute, right? So, my beautiful Bravehearts, in conclusion, what you focus on, you create more of. If you focus on a lack of control, you will find all the ways this is outside of you and outside of your control. If you focus on what you do have control over, you'll find all the ways you're actually in the driver's seat of this divorce and this breakup, regardless of whose decision it was. You have way more control than you're giving yourself credit for, Braveheart. Take back that driver's seat, buckle up, because baby, we are only going up from here. All right, my friends, I love you so much. Have an amazing day. Have an amazing week. And I will talk to you next time. If you're loving the How to Get Over Your Ex podcast and you want to learn how to get over your ex in 3 months or less to build a life better than the one you thought you had with your ex, I would like to personally invite you to my next group course where we take everything you've learned here on the podcast and apply it to your life. Come check it out at www.lifecoachdorothy.com.